Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. So many articles in crypto media talking about price action for XRP, where it might be going. Some seem pretty reasonable, and some seem, let's say, a bit too exuberant, depending on the time frame in particular. Let me share with you a few headlines I'm going to touch on here. There's this one from the Crypto Basic: XRP to hit $5, being the only asset to surpass ETH's market cap. Here's another one from the Crypto Basic. XRP finally breaks 2-year trend line. Is a 504x surge incoming? Ooh, thought-provoking. And then there's this one from the Daily Hodl. And I'm actually really looking forward to this one because I'm going to compare it to XRP, but here's the headline. From the Daily Hodl, $51,000 ETH now on the table. That's right, we're talking about Ethereum here. $51,000 ETH now on the table, according to VanEck. Here's their outlook. Now, my friends, this isn't just some random weird idiot internet person just throwing up big numbers. This is VanEck, which is a firm that manages about $57 billion. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, note that at the time I'm recording this, XRP is 51 cents. So you could look at some of these bigger price points, even just $5. It seems like miles away, right? 51 cents compared to $5. Then you're talking about the idea of a 504-fold increase. Or you're talking about ETH being at 51,000 comparatively. What does that mean for XRP? It seems impossible. Now, some of what is put on these articles, as I said at the outset, some of it's, and I'm being nice here, a bit too exuberant. But some of these price points that sound pie in the sky, perhaps upon first consideration, if you consider a longer timeline, maybe not so much. Everything seems impossible, right, in terms of way higher price action until it actually happens. Bitcoin used to be worth $0, and then it became worth almost $70,000 at its all-time high. So crazy stuff does happen, and the good news is, since we haven't seen these price points yet for XRP, like the opportunity is still there, because by the time we get to that point, it's over, folks. Not that, buying XRP at that point would necessarily be a bad idea. I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying in terms of the opportunity for life-changing wealth, once you're at those levels, it's over. The higher levels, yeah, pretty much over at that point. So anyway, I don't really want to read this entire article. I'm just going to show you what they were talking about here. This is the first one from Crypto Basic. XRP hit $5, being the only asset to surpass ETH's market cap. And they're talking about a tweet shared by Mason vs. Lewis. Now, I've never heard his last name enunciated, so I may be butchering that. If so, apologies. But Mason vs. Lewis tweeted out something which I think is pretty damn reasonable. He tweeted out, "It's easy to laugh at someone when they say XRP will hit $5. Do not underestimate one of the only coins to ever surpass ETH in market cap." And that is a good point. Now, prior to the SEC coming in and, wrecking all of our finances, us holders of XRP or in the XRP community, prior to the SEC wrecking us financially by artificially suppressing the price of XRP, XRP was a legit challenger to ETH, specifically in terms of market cap, not so much in terms of utility, at least at the time in particular. I know there's more NFT activity now with the XLS 20 minute that passed, but in particular, at the time, it's just competing in terms of price action. And there are a number of times where XRP did have a higher market cap than ETH. And, I'm certainly not underestimating it. And frankly, once there's sufficient regulatory clarity, I don't see why XRP couldn't surpass ETH again in market cap. Now, I don't pretend to know for sure if that's going to happen, but that's very reasonable. I think that, if not for the SEC, and I've said this before, I think that you would have seen a new all-time high for XRP by now. You would see it. It'd probably be 2 or 3 in market cap right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. So it's kind of funny to think, like, if anybody thinks $5 is crazy for XRP, that ain't nothing, son. But I appreciate the conservative approach here by Mason. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think here. $5, though. Like, I understand it depends on how much XRP you have. Everybody's got all sorts of different expectations, but I really suspect that for a lot of people, even if it's not a majority, it could be a smaller percentage, but for a lot of people still, I think even that price point, or $6 or $7, I think that's going to be life-changing for a lot of people. I'll just speak for myself here. If you're talking about selling, because like for me, I'll probably start selling somewhere around $5, just at least a bit. And then, as you get up to like $6 or $7, maybe $8, I mean, that's at a point where just for me personally, I'm not going to say how much XRP I hold. I'd rather keep that part private, even though I'll be happy to share when I'm selling and what percentages of my holdings I'm selling when we finally get to that point. But I mean, if you're talking 5, 6, 7, maybe $8, like for me, that will be life changing. And I'm not going to say what that means. And some people would want to have a higher dollar target than me, but I also have other net worth and other income streams. So it's like everybody wants different things. We're all in different situations here. But I'm just saying, I think for a lot of people it's going to be, and it's very reasonable so far as I'm concerned. Now, what's not reasonable is expecting a 504-fold increase. And so the fact that the Crypto Basic is even asking that in the headline, I think is a little bit absurd. And they're misrepresenting the individual who the article is written about, frankly. There's this XRP community member named JD, and he's just basically noting that we broke a 2-year trend line. That's what he says. And he wrote, in 2017, after confirmed breakout of 2-year trend line, we did a 504x in 1 year. Can we break 52 cents end of week? And so he, by the way, in a separate tweet, he says, no, there's no way 504-fold increase is happening. He, like right where I'm circling for those of you that are looking on the screen here. He says market cap is too high. And the way that I just articulated is, because it's an easy way to understand it, is there's so much money in XRP compared to back then anyway, that to get a doubling, tripling, quadrupling effect, it takes a lot more money flowing in. Now that said, XRP's current market cap, it's what? Let's see, 26 billion roughly. And with Bitcoin, you're talking about 526 billion. So it would be even more difficult for Bitcoin to get a doubling, tripling, quadrupling effect, so on and so forth. So no, we're not going to see a 504-fold increase, but that doesn't mean we can't achieve life-changing wealth here. And also, depending on your time horizon, some of these bigger numbers that, I think are kind of silly to talk about for like the next bull run, I don't think that they're wacky if you're talking about a little bit of a further time horizon, which is one of the reasons that, people holding XRP right now, should these things happen, even if you're not putting in a crazy amount of money, even if you're not able to do that, with a sufficient time horizon, anybody could achieve truly life-changing wealth. Now, I don't know that most people are going to do that, and then there's the emotions that come with it. Are you going to, are you going to be able to hold it that long? If those are the types of goals that you're going for, you're going to be holding on to that risk for what if it's 5, 6, 7 years, decade? But it's still, those bigger numbers, though, I do think they're possible. Let's jump in this article from the Daily Hodl. $51,000 ETH now on the table, according to VanEck. Here's their outlook. And again, the reason I wanted to highlight this, and I'm going to compare it to XRP, so it'll be fun. I crunched some numbers here. But VanEck, again, they manage $57 billion. And so I've long stated that those cryptocurrencies which offer the most utility will be where the money ends up flowing increasingly as this asset class matures. To me, that just seems like a no-brainer. We have to let time pass to see if that happens, but to me, it really does just genuinely seem like a no-brainer, which is why when I jumped into crypto in 2017 and I saw that XRP offers real utility, that was my aha moment, and that's when I got excited. I recognize that there are business models that can exist, which really do help, consumers and, well, as it pertains to Ripple, specifically on-demand liquidity. That was my aha moment. And so once I realized that, I was like, oh, crypto's never going away. Never. Of course it's not going away. Doesn't mean it won't be volatile AF. Of course it is. But for those cryptocurrencies that offer that utility, if you're talking about true staying power over a span of decades, why wouldn't we have cryptocurrencies that have multi-trillion-dollar market caps, individual coins? And I do think that's going to happen. And back in 2017, leading into the end of the year, and Bitcoin's all-time high was up to, close to 20,000. I remember looking at that point, and then sure, it was a bubble, and yes, it deflated, and a year later, Bitcoin got down to about $3,200. But seeing that market cap for the entire asset class go from, in that time period, I think the high was a little over 800 billion down to whatever it was, 150 billion. It was something really low. I was saying even at the bottom of that market in December of 2018 that at some point the asset class is going to break through $1 trillion, and I had also said there will be individual coins that will break $1 trillion. And Bitcoin did, so both those have come to pass. And there will be coins that have multi-trillion-dollar market caps, and I don't see why XRP couldn't be one of those. In fact, if you're paying attention, and I know you are, you can see the real-world adoption with XRP, which is why this is so exciting, it's why it's so fun, and having skin in the game is, frankly, what makes it fun. But this stuff is really happening. So jump in here. Global investment manager VanEck says Ethereum could hit $51,000 in less than 7 years if certain conditions align. In a new research report, VanEck lays out its base, bear, and bull cases for Ethereum's performance going into the end of the decade. VanEck explains its methodology in finding its estimate. And here's a quote. "We base these estimates on the thesis that Ethereum becomes the dominant open source global settlement network that hosts substantial portions of the commercial activity on business sectors with the highest potential to gain from moving their business functions to public blockchains. In a portfolio of similar smart contract platforms, we assume to own a collection of call options with the dominant platform likely to take a majority market share," end quote. And by the way, they do note if they're in their bear case scenario, maybe XRP's price just completely plummets and goes to like a few $100. Although I'll say, if it gets to that point, why wouldn't it just go to zero? Doesn't that kind of make you? Is some people still going to be using enough that it's still going to be worth a few $100? Maybe. I'm kind of skeptical of that because I think whatever's solving the problem, I think that's where pretty much all the money's going to flow here. But they note the following. In the bull case, $51,000 is what they're expecting. So, mind you, based on the current circulating supply, that would be a market cap of over $6 trillion for ETH. And again, look, I think that there can and will be multiple coins that have multiple trillions in terms of market cap individually. So if XRP were at that price level, and who knows, this is why I started the video by talking like, look, XRP and ETH were fighting for that number 2 spot. And you could see more of that in the future. I don't know for sure if they will be, in another 7 years from now, but they could be. It's not crazy to think that. But either way, if you're talking about that type of market cap for XRP, a $6 trillion market cap, that would make each XRP, based on current circulating supply, worth $116. So that's not something that I think is going to happen overnight. And I don't know if it will ever happen, and I do not make price predictions, so that's not what I'm getting at. But I am comfortable saying the concept of XRP being worth that price point at some point in the future does not seem wacky to me. It really doesn't. Certainly no more wacky than Bitcoin when it was worth a penny or $1, saying that it would one day be worth almost $70,000. Certainly not. This doesn't seem wacky in the least. Now, in the bear, or actually, I think it was the base case. Yeah, it was the base case. They're targeting $11,848.62 for ETH. So that would be a market cap of $1.4 trillion. Now, that doesn't seem ridiculous at all. No price predictions. I don't know if ETH is going to hit that. I would like for that to be the case because I've been holding ETH since 2017. It's actually the first cryptocurrency I ever purchased. So I would love to see that. But we already saw Bitcoin at its peak with a market cap of somewhere in the neighborhood of 1.3 trillion. So the idea of ETH being at 1.4 trillion, that doesn't seem wacky in the least, does it? Now, presumably, Bitcoin would be worth substantially more than that in terms of market cap because Bitcoin leads the market. And I don't know that I'm not convinced Bitcoin's always going to be number one, but I don't see it getting dethroned necessarily anytime soon. It certainly could happen, though. I know the Bitcoin maxis don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. But when you're talking about a $1.4 trillion market cap, you're talking about $27 XRP. That doesn't even almost sound like that. I mean, and again, it's not something that I think would necessarily, I'm not convinced it would happen the next market cycle when XRP enters, hits a new all-time high and enters price discovery. But that doesn't sound wacky at all, does it? Which is why I keep saying this is why it's so exciting to be in this. That's why I love running this YouTube channel, because I have the same passion and excitement that all of you listening do for all this. Because I think we get it. The opportunity is still there. There's almost no, I get it. XRP is one of the largest cap coins out there. So within the asset class being what it is, it's one of the ones with the most money in it. But that being said, in the scheme of things, there's almost no money in XRP because there's almost no money in crypto compared to where I believe it will be in the future. Why can't we have an asset class worth tens of trillions of dollars? Because I think that's where it's going. Why couldn't it be worth over $100 trillion? And right now, the asset class is worth 1.15 trillion roughly. Why couldn't it go 100x from there? Given enough time, because I think that if you fast forward enough, almost everyone on the planet's going to be in crypto in one capacity or another. It's going to be just as globe changing as the internet has been at a minimum. So we'll see what happens here. But the reason I wanted to highlight this, I mean, it's fun to think about this stuff, no doubt. I mean, I'm just like you guys. I love thinking about the potential high prices just as much as the next guy. But just to point out, because look, I've been saying since 2017, the idea of having individual coins with multi-trillion-dollar market caps, that's not a wacky situation. And here you have VanEck, reputable firm here, managing, again, about $57 billion. They agree. They're talking about ETH, fine. But we know that XRP has real utility, so why wouldn't money chase after XRP? I mean, it already is, but why wouldn't that increasingly happen, especially in a world where there's sufficient regulatory clarity? So, yeah, $5, I respect the rather conservative expectation. I do. I think that's very reasonable. But if you're talking over a longer timeline, and this is why I keep saying, the everyday person can absolutely achieve life-changing wealth. It just kind of depends on how much you're investing and what your time horizon is. And so for me, I did something that most people aren't doing. I put a lot of money, what's to me is subjectively a lot of money, into XRP so that I could exit sooner. And that's why when I said, you know, I'll be able to have life-changing wealth selling some at like $5 all the way up to, $6, $7, $8, just like, a kind of dollar cost averaging over a span of years. As it goes up through those price points, which I think may happen in the future. That's my bet I'm placing. I'll just scale out, as it gets there. And for me, that is life-changing wealth. So I'm taking on a lot more risk, though, up front to do that. So it is what it is. And for people that are taking less risk, if you want to get to the point where it's life-changing for you, if you're not taking on as much, maybe that does mean waiting longer. So to each their, and that's fine too. I'm not crapping on the idea. I just decided that I have an extremely high level of confidence and I'm just going to do it. And as soon as I did it, ultimately, I started sleeping easier. If anything, I was sleeping easier because I'm that convinced that we're going to be hitting these levels. And I understand I could be wrong and it goes to zero. But again, hey, to each their own, I've placed my bets. So we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. I would love to know what your expectations are. What seems reasonable to you? $6 trillion market cap for XRP in the future, anybody? What do you think? I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.